Hi, I'm leaving work. This is really the only time I have to record. But I'm Andrew Hilton. If you're watching this, you should already know that. I've been investigating the paranormal for, going on 20 years. Give or take more. And I wanted to talk about my main push anymore is going to be what I'm coining as NDPs. Non-defined phenomena. That's your EMF responses, your photographs, your video, whatever the case may be, that most investigators consider it as evidence, or the methods that they use currently, your spirit boxes. But the thing is, currently, with all those devices and everything, nobody is recording any usable information, right? So you have an EMF meter or a REM pod or whatever other device you have, the frickin' bell thing, or the thing now that I see people using that has the yes or no side, right? All you're seeing is a light. It's not recording any usable information to further our knowledge base in the field, or on a scientific level, to understand what anything is, right? It's all made for entertainment. You can have an underlying belief that it's paranormal all you want, and that's fine. I'm not a complete skeptic myself. I've experienced more than enough weird things. Otherwise, I wouldn't still be investigating things. And I've got the same equipment, right? I've got the REM pods and all that flashy stuff, but I also don't record my investigations for entertainment value. Not that I couldn't, I just don't. That's not the path I want to take with my investigating. So I'm not trying to discredit anyone. I'm just saying that they're all full of BS. And it's simply all opinion based currently, the way it is, and it doesn't matter who you are. I have the same opinion on anyone. YouTube side, you got Sam and Cody, you got Twin Paranormal, you got Overnights, you got all these other people, right? TV side, you've got Jason Hawes, you got the Ghost Hunters crew in general, and all the other shows that branched off from that, and everyone else that's on TV. The same opinion applies. Apply anyone you want, any team, any name. I have the same opinion. It's all BS. It's all entertainment. And a lot of these people have funding to where if they really wanted to do legitimate scientific investigations, that they could. That they don't. I don't know if they think that would undermine what they do, or whatever the case may be. So I don't understand why there's such a negative push about people considering themselves paranormal entertainers versus everybody that's out there thinks that they have to be taken as being legitimate, right? And the issue is with those things and the devices and the methods used, a lot of people fake evidence, or they misuse equipment to their faults to imply something is paranormal when it's clearly not. My biggest pet peeve is the SLS camera. Don't use it. You know, I mean, people still use the flashlight method, for crying out loud. That's been debunked how many times? Now, if you go buy any modern flashlight that mostly have LED lights, guess what? The flashlight method isn't going to work. It has to be the older bulb versions. That's the only way that the flashlight method will work, and that's also debunked on a scientific level. Even though it may seem like it's going on and off in response or whatever the case may be. That's generally not the case on most investigations. When you do network television or YouTube channels, guess what? They can edit out the response time, right? Let's say there's a 15-minute gap where nothing's going on, but then all of a sudden one of the lights goes on. Now they can edit out that entire gap to make it seem like that response was immediate. And that's kind of manipulative, right? So even if what they are capturing is paranormal in some way or form, it doesn't matter, they're not measuring any usable information. And that's what I want to set out to do with this NDP. I want to take the paranormal into a legitimate form of scientific study. The problem is this equipment does not exist yet that I want to use. Now, I've already got it all hashed out, figured out theoretically how it would work, how to put it together. I just have to get the time and funds to do so, which might not be anytime soon, might not be right this minute, might not be next year or the next 2 years, because to put it together currently with the current prices, with all the sensors and everything else I'd need, and the know-how to actually do it, would be about $18,000 for a one-room system. That's currently where I'm sitting at, and it's something I'll eventually fund myself. I just don't have the extra funds laying around right out of pocket right this second. And like I said, family comes first before anything else, especially the paranormal to me. And those of you know that my daughter just had another surgery. She had her eye surgery. I mean, she's doing great, by the way. So I mean, there's no concern there. But the medical expenses and everything, are adding up. So realistically, it's just more important for me to focus on that aspect of things. But if anyone's interested ever in knowing what I do or want to support it, then let me know. Or right here on this channel, you can support by subscribing here, wherever it is that I post this, which will more than likely be YouTube. And to be honest with you, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this page. I've got my YouTube page. I started kind of doing stuff, but I have no clue what content I actually want to put out. Because no one's going to sit there and watch scientific studies, right? That's one of the main reasons a lot of these channels or YouTubers use the methods that they do. Right? Now, I'm not even saying that everyone fakes things. I mean, you can believe that things are paranormal. I'm just saying that no one's collecting any usable information or data that proves it one way or the other. So it's just open-ended and opinion-based, which is why I don't do debunking videos. Right? Because you're not giving me anything to debunk. Like, I can debunk things by common sense, right? Like, oh, well, maybe there's an air conditioner going. Maybe the heating system or a refrigerator close by, or, But the reality is, it's not giving me anything to debunk. There's certain things I don't like, or the way that people implement them, like the Estes method, right? Initially, it seems intriguing, right? It is, especially when you seemingly get responses that are correlating with kind of what's going on or what's being asked. The problem with the entertainment side, when they do it anymore, one, most of them aren't really recording the audio or the sound that's coming through the Spirit Box or SB7 or Geoport, whatever it is that they're using anymore, right? And even if they were, it's really easy to fake in post, where you have the audio track, you know, that horrible, god-awful noise that all those things make, that noise. But my point is, though, you can take an audio clip of a word or a response. It can be you talking or someone else. You can alter the pitch on it or whatever you want to do with it. And then you can take that clip and insert it into the audio band and make it seem like it was a real-time response. And you can make it say whatever you want. And know what? No one would be any the wiser. That's my issue when it comes to the entertainment side of things. And you know what? A lot of those people I watch myself, even the ones I named off. Doesn't mean I'm particularly fond of them or the way they do things, or no, but I find them entertaining. Like I said, Sam and Kobe, you know what? I find their content entertaining. Overnights, I find their content entertaining. Jason Hawes, I find their content entertaining. Nick Gruff, I find their content entertaining. And it's nothing against anyone personally. Like I said, I'm not calling anyone out specifically. Like I said, you can take any name, any team, whatever you want, and then infer or imply it, insert it, and I have the same opinion. I've not seen one individual try to do things legitimately or on an actual scientific method is what I'd say. A lot of people just like to claim, well, you can't do scientific methods. You can. You absolutely can. And there's been some scientific studies already done. I made a huge post, I think it was on Facebook. What is it? Right off the top of my head, the Gainesfield experiment that resulted in a lot of unique and interesting results. That's what I'll say. But it also came under a lot of scrutiny. But why did it come under scrutiny? And it's not a bad thing. But why? You have to take a look at it and say, okay, scientists don't take it seriously because XYZ. They said, all right, you can't account for this. This could have caused this to happen, or, you know, either way, when it was scrutinized, you know, there's things that they scrutinized it about how they did things, how they collected data, what they could have done differently. And the thing is, no one's really revisited that and changed those things. And I made a whole post about how you could technically do it so today and expand on it with modern technology. I made a whole post about it. Sorry, I'm trying to pay attention as I'm driving also. But yeah, like I said, I can't recount it word for word, but there's a lot of things you can do. You had to take a look at how it was scrutinized, where people brought up points and said, hey, maybe this was biased, maybe this was contaminated, yada, you know, and you have to revise how you do things, right? And no one really has. Why? I don't know. One, that would be an expensive experiment. The way I mentioned to do it on the cheap end would be like $100,000, which I'm not going to fund, and that's more geared towards not necessarily the paranormal. It kind of falls under the same umbrella, but that's more like ESP and psychokinetic ability type things, right? Like remote viewing, etc. So that's kind of outside of my realm of expertise, even within the paranormal community, right? So that's why that's not my focus. And I made that post also to kind of show that I'm not full of BS when I'm talking about there are ways to do things. The NDPs, like I said, I haven't really gone into full detail about it. And I won't until it's a working piece of equipment, or a system, I should say. Because like I said, it doesn't exist yet. I have to create it. There's too many people out there that will try to take your ideas and twist it, because I can't copyright an idea. But I do have schematics and, like I said, plans and everything else about how to put it together, how it would work, how to record stuff. And like I said, just a one-room system would be $18,000. So let's say I go to a haunted location. That means I have to do my own research, or kind of interview other people or investigators that have investigated a certain location, and try to pick out a hot spot, or an area where I'm most likely to get activity, right? And then from there, I would have to kind of quarantine the area to an extent, and then get all these readings that would give me my baseline readings, over a certain amount of time. And then there's other things I could do. Like I said, I won't go into detailed specifics at the moment, because it wouldn't serve me any good to do so. But the thing is that I was saying, though, to conduct it scientifically, though, I would have to do all this stuff. I would have to get that information and the things that it's reading, right? It's not proving to me what ghosts are. I'm not setting out to say, this is definitively what a ghost is. That would be a huge leap. But what it would pick up on is, if these things that are occurring are paranormal, this is how it's doing it. Say, this is how it's interacting with it. And over a period of time, if I get an XYZ reading, or what I would call an anomaly, with a specific reaction or response, or an amount of activity, a specific action, that would be considered paranormal, and if I can capture that more than once, right, that's where the scientific method comes into play. It's not necessarily something I can recreate, and you don't have to be able to, but I have to get the same readings alongside this action. And when those things correlate multiple times, I could confidently say, this is paranormal, and this is what happens alongside this action. This is what's being interfered with. This is what, So technically what I'm trying to do is quantify the information, right? And give legitimate, actual answers. The thing is, like I said, it wouldn't tell me what a ghost is, but it would tell me how they're interacting with things, or the environment, or whatever it is that's going on with a certain type of activity. And if I can get a certain type of activity that correlates with the readings on multiple occasions, especially across different locations, that would be something, and it could eventually lead to better understanding and discoveries within the paranormal field, and kind of change how people investigate or how we collect data, and be able to really push that frontier of finding actual evidence. Because as it is now, you know, all these people who want to be entertainers or no one on YouTube or whatever platform it is that they're on, right? But they do it on an entertainment basis. Why? Because the views and the ad revenue, it brings in money. And who doesn't want to do that, right? I'd love to quit my day job. That's just not feasible at the moment. But like I said, though, but when you get a certain type of audience, you have an image to maintain, a brand, whatever the case may be. You get people got merch, for crying out loud. Then they go all out on this entertainment aspect of things, and no one's really researching anymore, or what I would call investigating. I call it more thrill-seeking and fun, which, like I said, I do myself. I have all the gadgets. I've got a parabolic microphone. I've got an SB7. I've got the EMF readers. I've got cameras and thermal and whatever else you can think of. And but then people watch all these things and think, hey, you know what? That's how you should investigate, right? So you've got all these new people that want to go investigate or see all these people making success on YouTube or whatever the case may be. And they want to try to emulate that, right? So I always tell people, okay, let's say you're investigating and you capture something, whether it's an EVP or let's say a photograph that you can't explain. People can't debunk it, whatever the case may be. But by all means, it seems legitimate and paranormal. The problem is it's still not evidence. And even if it's 100% paranormal, who cares? Because you're not recording that information. It's not telling you anything. And I know people are always shocked when I say that, but I mean, legitimately, I'm asking, who cares? You got a solid shadow figure, or an apparition peeking around a corner on video, and you can clearly see it without distortion or anything. Who cares? Who cares? Chalk it up with the other thousands of videos that people either claim are or have the same type of evidence or quality that you have. At that point, you're just personally claiming an achievement. It's been done hundreds, thousands of times before. I probably got my own collection of stuff. I don't generally keep anything. But I mean, I've kept notes and stuff and some photos. But then like I said, it comes about where any one investigator, like the debunking community, I know there's been a big thing about, oh, debunkers are bad, blah, 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 demons, and whatever. Anyway, I won't get into all that, because that's, even for me, being in this paranormal field for 20 years, I've seen so much drama, BS, I'm done with it. I don't care. Para-unity, cut it. Cut it. No, not here. Won't have a part of it. I'm not going to disrespect you, but it causes way more drama than it solves. So that's my issue with that. That's always been my stance on it. Always will be. Take it as you will. But like I said, but for all these people to claim things are haunted or evidence, you can't. And that's why the scientific community doesn't take it legitimately. What is the word I'm looking for? pseudoscience. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Where it's more based on belief and opinion than actual scientific rigor or information or facts. And that's the downside. So, is it entertaining? Is it fun? Absolutely. Is it fun to go on location and seemingly with an EMF meter that's seemingly going off in response? Absolutely. Come on, person, get over. No, pull out from me. All right. But it is. It's entertaining. But like I said, it's not adding value. It's not adding information or knowledge. And some people don't care to. It's like if I have a REM pod, cool. One, they can be manipulated fairly easily if you wanted to. And that's the other downside of the way that people do investigations, right? You're using all this equipment, whether you claim to be legitimate or not, you're not covering every aspect of what's going on, and a lot of this equipment can be manipulated. So, I mean, I'll always keep that in mind. Right now, the paranormal field, really the only thing holding anyone to any sort of accountability is how people view them as being legitimate or not. Like I said, the downside is a lot of them just aren't legitimate. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. If someone's blatantly just going out and faking stuff, it's the same thing as someone believing that they're capturing something paranormal that just isn't. You can argue the morality of that all you want, but it's equally as bad to me, because the information that you are capturing, even if you think it's paranormal, is all easily faked. And that's the problem with a lot of personal experiences, right? That they're easy to fake if one really wanted to, especially on film or a production level. And sadly, that's just what a lot of people do. It doesn't matter if I have proof or evidence of this, it's evidence in itself. Especially, like I said, when people are running around with the SLS cameras. Why? Because someone claimed that it picks up ghost or anomaly. Where's the information? Where's the proof that an EMF meter is picking up paranormal activity? Where's the proof that an SLS camera is picking up anything paranormal? As a matter of fact, all the evidence and information surrounding an SLS camera tells me it's not paranormal. The problem with that is the hardware and the software within the chipset of those cameras and how they work, especially when they're all modified or based off of the Xbox Kinect cameras. And then people were charging, $500-$600+ for these things. So I mean, if I paid that much for it, I'd probably claim it was picking up paranormal stuff too, to be honest. I mean, it's the way it is. And why aren't those legitimate? Because they're not meant to be mobile. They're meant to record a playing area and also kind of, goodness, sorry if that's loud, but also kind of predict movement or limbs, or if someone happened to be missing a limb or they were sitting or a wheelchair, the system is supposed to kind of infer and create what it perceives to be a body or limbs and how it moves. So if you're running around a place and there's a vase or something else in a chair, it's going to try to pick it up and map it out as being a person. They're not meant to be moved around and shaky, and they're supposed to be fixed within a certain range, not move, and then maybe you might pick something weird up, right? But no one's doing that. No one's using them as like a stationary camera. They all have them handheld. So they're playing on the faults of the system and implying that those faults within the system and how it works is paranormal, and that's manipulative. So anyway, NDPs, that's going to be my main focus. Here on this page, I've got no idea what I'm going to do with it yet. Will I talk about stuff? Will I cover paranormal news? Well, maybe I'll start gaming and talk about paranormal stuff as I'm gaming or doing a horror game. Whatever the case, I've got no idea what I want to do. I do know that I don't want to go out and record investigations, at least not personally. Not saying that I won't. Hey, views are views, right? I'm no different than anyone else when it comes to that. But that's not my goal. All right, I have no intentions of becoming popular or famous in the traditional sense. I want what I put into the paranormal community to have merit and value. Sorry, my hair's a mess, but anyway, I'm done ranting. I'm at one of the locations. I'm actually at the gas station at the moment, so I'm gonna jump out, get what I gotta get, gas, yada yada yada, and that'll be that until next time. But like I said, let me know if there's something you want me to cover, you want me to see. Do you want me to do debunking? Do you want me to show you how it can be manipulated? I can do that. But like I said, it's not to call out anyone specific, because I can do that with anyone's. No matter how legitimate you think they are, I can show you how that can be manipulated, or how it's not quite honest, or how there's no evidence that anything as paranormal is even going on. I could make a whole thing that seems legitimate, but fake it all. If that's what I really wanted to do. That's not my intention. Like I said, my intention is to gather actual quantifiable information and data to discover more possibilities of what these things could be, or how we can better investigate to further our knowledge. That's my goal, and I don't know what yours is. But anyway, if you have more questions, you want to know more, let me know. Let me know. Maybe I'll do my tarot readings. See, that's another aspect. I don't fake my tarot readings, but it's not something I bank on. I don't know how it works. I don't claim to be psychic. That's not something I've ever claimed. I will not claim that. Maybe some people are. Don't know. Like I said, that's ESP, blah, blah, blah. That's a completely different aspect than what I'm used to. But my tarot readings, all I can tell you is, it's not for me to say, it's for you to say. So if you've gotten a reading for me, or from me, then you can say whether I'm accurate or not. Not me saying that, because that's goofy to me. I have no right to claim I'm accurate. I'm the best tarot reader ever. No, honestly, I know nothing about tarot. The cards that mean nothing. I do intuitive readings. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject. I'm going to end this now. But anyway, that's the gist of it. I hope you found some useful information or value in this. If not, I don't know what to tell you. Bye.